Hey everyone, I'm Ana Luisa Daño from Living Tongues Institute for Endangered Languages. Thank you so much for coming to the webinar today. Since we're a small group, I would just love to go around and ask our three participants here where they are and what languages they're working on or interested in working on. Jasmine, if you're able to unmute, could you tell us where you are and what you're working on?
Hi, I am in Winnipeg and I'm connected with some sisters who are learning Nahuatl from some nuncies in El Salvador, which is really cool. I unfortunately got too busy to continue on with the group for the second half, but I'm still connected with some sisters here in Canada.
That's awesome.
Invitation, so yeah.
That's great. That's great. I'm originally from Montreal, and I also are you a descendant from Nahuatl communities?
Yeah, and I was born in El Salvador.
Oh, great. Okay, fantastic. Well, that's great. Yeah, we've had some interest from different Nahuatl people to build a living dictionary for Nahuatl on our platform. We actually have a small one, which I can share at the end for Pipil Nahuatl, which is from El Salvador. So I can share that link with. Have you seen that one already on the site?
No, I haven't. Yeah, one of the sisters here in Canada said, hey, this might interest you. And so I'm here. So I'm here to learn all of it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so we have a couple more people arriving. I will get you that link right now, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah, since you're originally from El Salvador, we have a small but wonderful living dictionary for Pipil Nahuatl, which I will put in the chat. And this was created by Carlos Cortez, who's now Pipil Nahuatl fluent speaker in El Salvador, and I've just been in touch with him on email a few weeks ago, actually. So we're gonna have him expand his dictionary in the coming years. So that would be great to see how you can be involved in that effort.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes, thanks for being here. If anyone else wants to unmute or say hi, like maybe Justin or anyone else want to say hello before I get started with the training? I saw Justin earlier was walking around, so maybe it's not possible to unmute. Does anyone else want to unmute and say hello? Okay.
I can say hello.
Hey,
welcome
Greg.
To everyone. That's what I'm going to say. Yep.
Okay, so Greg's here, the director of Living Tongues, and he'll help. Answer our linguistic questions at the end of my presentation. Great. And Justin's here listening in. He's on the playground right now. No problem. Sounds good. Perfect. So I'll go ahead and get started. And at the end, we'll have time for community discussion. Let's see here. I try to speak for about 25 minutes or so, and then dive into community needs, specific questions that come from the webinar and specifically what people might be looking for in their projects. Okay, here we go. Okay, great. So this presentation is called Living Dictionaries, a global platform for language documentation and collaboration. And I'm here with Greg Anderson. We can answer your questions at the end of this presentation. So 2022, we kicked off the UNESCO International Decade of Indigenous Languages, and we're part of a broad coalition of other organizations who also work on language revitalization issues worldwide. So I'll put this link in the chat as well at the end, and people can see many other nonprofits like us who are working in this space. Here's some news. There's a call for papers for anyone who is interested in attending or maybe giving a paper or poster at this upcoming event. It's in October 2022. So they just put out their call for papers this week. It's our colleagues at ELAR and Paradisec. They joined up to organize a conference called Where Do We Need to Go From Here? Language Documentation and Archiving During the Decade of Indigenous Languages. So submissions are due the 1st of June, and we'll be presenting at this big conference in October about living dictionaries. So if anyone's interested, I have this link here. I'll put this as well in the chat, and I'll just make myself a note to remember to put these 2 links in at the end. Great. So who are we at Living Tongues? We're a nonprofit research organization based in the US with researchers located around the globe. We stand at the intersection of linguistics and community activism, and we are funded by grants and donations. So along with running the Living Dictionaries platform, we also publish children's books, such as the first ever Birhor children's book in India. This was the first time that the Birhor language, which is an endangered Munda language, appeared in print. So we did that project last year, and we were very happy about the community outreach and the impact of publishing this first ever book in Birhor. We also published some cultural videos on our YouTube channel. So if you check us out, Living Tongues Institute on YouTube, you'll see some examples like this one, the traditional musical instruments of the Sahara people, and some other interesting content, including webinars like this and videos from past field work. So I'll talk a little bit about the urgency of what we're doing. This is a global map of hotspots of endangered languages by vitality level. So the green spots represent languages that are not as endangered, and as you go towards red, they become more endangered. So this gives you a way of seeing clusters of endangered languages around the world. So as you can see throughout the Americas, we have many languages which are urgently in need of documentation because they've been understudied, and because they're very diverse and different from other languages, and because there are very few speakers left. So in calculating these and making maps like this, we look at language diversity, diversity on the family level, the individual level, the number of speakers left, and many other factors. You can see there's also a lot of cluster of endangered languages here in the Pacific and Australia, Siberia, and other places too. So this kind of research guides our work. We know we live in a very crucial time to document these languages that have been long understudied. Many of them have been, ignored or discriminated against for a long time. So we think it's really important that linguists and activists really work on these languages and bring them to the forefront and make them visible and make them accessible. What is exactly an endangered language? When children are not learning a language as a first language or stop using the heritage language, it can be considered an endangered language. And so this doesn't happen, sometimes it can happen very quickly, but usually they go through a sort of spectrum of endangerment, going through these degrees of healthy to threatened, endangered, severely endangered, moribund, and extinct. So this is, a difficult situation that we face on a daily basis in the work that we do. Luckily, we hope that with the Living Dictionaries platform, it can help even moribund and extinct languages have a place to live on the internet and a place for people to access them and bring them back. So some of the languages I'll be talking about today, such as Tutalosaponi Monacan here in North Carolina, where I live, that language has been considered moribund for a long time, but now it's making a comeback through people revitalizing the language. A moral imperative of the 21st century is the decolonization and democratization of linguistic resources. So we feel it's very important to decolonize linguistics itself and make academic resources really usable, accessible, and free for communities who need them. So that's why we operate at that intersection between academia and grassroots activism. We really believe that it is time to make sure that all languages are easily discoverable online and usable and celebrated by the communities who want to speak them. Here's our team working on this particular platform, Living Dictionaries. So we have Diego in Mexico, myself in North Carolina, Jacob, who's based in Taiwan, and Greg, who's also on this call, based in Salem, Oregon. So we all work remotely and we help maintain the platform and answer people's questions. And we also do language documentation and add content to dictionaries and create new dictionaries all the time based on our own research projects. So that's a little bit about who we are. We also have a larger team with Living Tugs. We have a whole staff in India who are working on many different endangered Munda languages. And we work with colleagues, partners, different organizations around the world to make these projects happen. So here's our site, livingdictionaries.app. And here are the public dictionaries that you can see on the website. And we also have a lot of private dictionaries too that are not seen on this map. So a lot of the dictionaries are still under construction by the teams who are building them. But you can visit this and you'll see, you can click on any dictionary and start listening to recordings. Some of the dictionaries range from just having a few entries to like up to over 10,000 entries, some of them. So we see this as a very long-term project. You know, some of the smaller dictionaries will grow and take shape over time. Some news that we have about the platform. So we're going to be releasing step-by-step video tutorials in English and Spanish in May on our YouTube channel. So we're currently planning and scripting those. So really take you into the nitty-gritty of how each how to get started and how to add entries correctly. So we're really excited about having that on our YouTube channel and on our homepage as well. We're also we finished programming the video recording functionality and we're testing that out with several communities. So that's going well. We have new features available under settings where people can work on the configuration of their dictionaries without having to go through us. And we just released yesterday our 12th interface language, which is Hindi. So we're very excited about that, and shout out to our Hindi translators such as Ashwini Parmar, who worked really hard on the Hindi translation so that more people can use the interface in Hindi. So to create a dictionary, you go to, our Create Dictionary page on our platform, and you can use any web browser. And we have a simple process to set up your dictionary. It asks you for the names, the name, so alternate names, the coordinates, and what languages you want your dictionary to be available in. So what translations do you want? And it's a very simple and easy way to create a dictionary and get started with your own documentation on any device. Right now, it works in the cloud. So it's a progressive web app. It functions as a website on any desktop or mobile browser, and it relies on the internet. But we are very acutely aware that there's a lot of people who need it to work offline because they don't have connectivity. So we're working on the offline mode. And some of the features do work offline, such as text editing, but multimedia editing doesn't work offline yet. The platform is totally free to use and accessible on any device. There are no subscription fees for dictionary managers or for people browsing the dictionaries. I should add here, it's while we're crowdsourcing in the sense that anyone can create a dictionary, only the dictionary managers can edit and like access the dictionary and edit and make changes. They can have as a large a team as they want, but people who are just viewing the dictionary can't make edits. They just browse and stream the audio. And we have our code is source available. It's under a non-commercial license on our GitHub account. You can easily find us on GitHub for the developers out there. Just find us as Living Tongues. So how do we proceed? We usually teach people in webinars exactly like this. We bring people together and we do trainings, and we also do regionally specific trainings. So here's one of our snapshots from a Zoom webinar last year. And we really welcome anyone who has experience in linguistics or not. The platform is supposed to be as user-friendly as possible. So if you have a little bit of linguistics training or none at all, or you're a very advanced field linguist, the platform works for everyone. And we rely on community feedback to improve it. So what goes into a dictionary entry? Here's an example from a Mayan language called Pocumchi Tuscorec, spoken in Guatemala. So you have the word in Pocumchi, which is the phonetic transcription, the English gloss, which is the translation into English, Spanish gloss, part of speech, which is a noun in this case. And we have some semantic domain tags that allow people to help organize and tag their data, some notes. We also have some fields for linguists who might be working on this, about the dialect and morphology and so on. We have source where you can add links here or citations, and then 2 buttons for multimedia. So you have your audio and your image. So that's usually kind of a basic look at what you can put in an entry. You don't have to put this much, you could put less, or you could put more. So we have fields that accommodate many different types of data in one entry. As I mentioned earlier, we also have many interface languages. We're actually at 12 now as of yesterday. So these are all the languages that people can use the platform in. We don't want to just be an English-centric platform, even though we're based in North America, and I'm obviously speaking the English language right now. But we're really making efforts to make this as worldwide and as multilingual as possible. So the interface itself is available in Spanish, French, Kiswahili, Russian, Hebrew, Portuguese, Bahasa Indonesia, Malay, Bengali, Assamese, and we just added Hindi yesterday. Here is the platform in Russian. So this is the Hizel Living Dictionary. It's an indigenous language from Siberia. So most of the people browsing and using this will be looking at it in Russian. Here's another dictionary, Sora. Sora is a language that we're doing a multi-year documentation project on. It's a Munda language from India. And here you can see the interface displayed in Assamese. So there are some Sora communities in Assam, India, who need to be able to browse in Assamese. So this is very useful for them. Okay, a few notes on displays. So you think of a traditional print dictionary in your mind. It's kind of a big, massive list of words. So we offer that. Our first way of looking at a dictionary is kind of a traditional list view that's organized alphabetically. So here you see a dictionary that was built by activists and linguists in Bolivia, Quechua del Sur, Bolivia de Vacas. And here you see a traditional list view. You can also toggle over with our buttons to table view and gallery view. So table view gives you a spreadsheet version of the same dictionary. So it's very good for browsing and editing and searching by using the search bar. And then also gallery too, you can search and you can just see the entries that are accompanied with images. So it's a really good way to dive into the visual side of the dictionary. You can have, every entry can have an image associated with it, and it really helps for educational settings and for sharing on the internet, sharing on WhatsApp or other social media forums. You can share entries individually or through different tags. And we think that having as much multimedia as possible is great for really expanding these dictionaries and using electronic resources in a powerful way. Here is Gata. This is another endangered Munda language from India. We're seeing Gata in table view. And this screenshot here shows you that we can search for morphemes, which are little parts of words, whether they're inside a word or phrase at the beginning or the middle of the end. You can search for different types of morphemes. In this case, this is a suffix, which comes at the end of the word, and it means bug in this language. So all the entries that have this suffix are searchable by searching for it. So this is a really powerful way to really dive into the data and do some accurate searching, not just based on the initial alphabetic organization of the words, but stuff that's inside the words and on the ends of words too. Here is the Iquito Living Dictionary that just came out in the last couple of months. Iquito is an indigenous language from Peru, and we collaborated with Dr. Christine Bayer at UC Berkeley Linguistics and her students, as well as the Iquito community, to bring this content online, accompanied by really excellent illustrations made in Peru of local flora and fauna. So here you can see it's displayed in Spanish, which is useful for Peru, and displayed in gallery view. So it becomes a really nice tool and a really easy way to view the content in different ways. We also accommodate multiple scripts and glossing languages, which is very important for the way that people access and search these dictionaries. So, for example, here we're back to Sora, which is in India. We have the Sora entry for the plural form of dogs. So this is how you would write that in International Phonetic Alphabet. We have the same word represented in Assamese script, so Sompeng Mardir script, which is a local script used by certain Sora communities. Once again, phonetic transcription. And then you have all these different glosses in Oriya, Assamese, and English, and Hindi, part of speech. And then here you even have your semantic domain tags and your morphological breakdown with its interlinearization and the dialect. So this is a very complete entry with tons of information. You could be searching in the search bar of the dictionary for any one of these items, and this entry will pop up. So you really go beyond the static page. You really go into using electronic search capabilities for what they're able to do. I talked a little bit about multimedia. We're really happy with the multimedia in these dictionaries. You can add an image, such as here, the baobab tree. This is in the Owe language, which is a dialect of Yoruba. So we had some really engaging images here. And we can see the audio waveform. So we have the name of the speaker associated with every audio recording. And people can record this audio straight from their smartphones or desktop computer, or they can upload an audio file from pre-existing audios that they have already on their computer or whatnot. So a lot of these were recorded in places where we don't have internet. So we recorded the speaker like Bondu Kirsani here. And we later edited the audio and then uploaded them one by one to the platform. Or we can also upload in batches at a time, which I'll get to in a minute. Semantic domains. Semantic domains are what we use to tag the data with these core groups of meanings. So here, for example, we're looking at all of the, sorry, my thing is skipping. All of the entries in the Kalinago Living Dictionary that have been tagged with our semantic domain filter, locations and directions. So this is a really powerful way of just looking at all the content that has to do with place and location. The Kalinago language has not been spoken for at least several decades, but there are still in the collective memory of the Kalinago people, the memory of the original Kalinago names of the islands in the Caribbean region where the language used to be spoken. So this is a way to access that kind of knowledge and bring back some of those names in the landscape. Ecological knowledge is also very important, obviously tied to knowledge of the land and people. So we believe that we really want to encourage more ecological knowledge on the platform. So for example, here is a semantic domain tag that allows us to see just the plants and trees and other vegetation in the Gata Living Dictionary and seeing it through gallery view. That's a really good way to access that ecological information and search for the plants and what are their translations and possibly their scientific names. So good for identification. And we typically work with botanists and other specialists to help identify these plants when we're in the field collecting this type of data. Here also in Gata, an endangered Munda language of India, we see all the entries that have been tagged with the bird semantic domain. So that's really cool. It also allows us to see all the species that exist in that location where Gata is spoken. And it allows us to hear their names and see how they might reflect, the bird sounds, the sounds that the birds make, and then understand a bit more about these birds and even explore their, we're working on adding some links to other bird databases, for example. where people can go further into this type of research. Okay, dialects. So dialects, we get this question a lot because so many indigenous languages that we work with have variants and dialects, and what's the best way to represent that in an online resource? Well, it's a very good question. You can represent a dialect just by having its own freestanding dictionary, such as Owe. Owe is one dialect of Yoruba. Or you can also have multiple dialects represented in one dictionary. For example, Opata, which is a Uto-Aztecan language that was once spoken in Mexico and the US. They have multiple dialects in one dictionary. And this was decided by the Opata Council, which is composed of many Opata descendants who are working on reviving the language. They decided they didn't want to have a separate dictionary for each dialect, but bring all those resources together into one Opata living dictionary. So that's a great way to proceed if there's very few speakers left and there's kind of disparate resources and archives and materials available. Bring that all together into one dictionary if the community wants it to be represented that way. And I mentioned batch imports earlier in remote collaboration. A lot of the dictionaries you've seen so far have been achieved by remote collaboration with people working near and far. So what we do is we help people by having regional meetings, just like this, but more in depth and more specific to one country or one continent. And here you see our collaborators in Africa. And so we were working on a couple different languages with them from Zimbabwe, Nigeria, and Cameroon. And so we had this webinar for linguists in Africa where we helped get some of the data organized for batch import. And so one of the dictionaries that came out of that process was Kalanga, which is a language from Zimbabwe and Botswana. And so we taught our collaborators how to put everything into a spreadsheet. So take all their data and we would meet them once a month or whatnot to go over the spreadsheet that we made for them. It's a template that we use for import. And then we were able to take this spreadsheet directly and with our web developer, Diego, import it into the site as a batch. So using that spreadsheet as the text, and then it becomes entries, as you see here on the Kalanga Living Dictionary. So it's a really effective way of working if people already have long lists of data that they want to see online, rather than doing one entry at a time, which is also great by using the add entry button. You can do them individually, or you can have a spreadsheet, and so we can upload a large amount at one time. Yes, so I'd be happy to answer more questions about that. So in conclusion here, I'm going to wrap up with a little bit of best practices. So who are these dictionaries best steered by? Community members who are working on documenting their own languages. We feel that those dictionaries are the best when it's steered by community members. Those people do not necessarily need to be linguists to use the platform, but they should have a clear, demonstrable connection to the community of speakers. Excuse me, my thing keeps jumping. A clear, demonstrable connection to the community of speakers of their language. Community members who are building the dictionary may not be fluent in their own language, and that's fine, but they should have trusting relationships with fluent speakers who can provide audio recordings. Also, we welcome partnerships between community members and scholars who have trusting long-term relationships and a clear understanding of how the dictionary materials should be accurately portrayed online. So people who are able to work together to sort out any spelling or orthographic issues, anything related to dialects or names or naming of the project itself. Who is it for? Who are the stakeholders? So we have a lot of partnerships on the platform, and we're very excited to see that growing, especially during COVID. It's been a boom for dictionary building since people have time on their hands. We also welcome outsiders who do not fall into these categories, and they are welcome to create unpublished dictionaries on our platform that may later be authorized for public use pending approval. Who owns the data? That's a big question that we get constantly. Living Tongues Institute does not own any of the recordings or language content on the Living Dictionaries platform. The data in a Living Dictionary belongs to the language community who created the dictionary. So they always retain copyright and ownership of everything they put on the platform. This is described in our terms of use page. Dictionary managers are the only ones who can edit and contribute to dictionaries. They can use the platform itself to invite other managers and contributors to create an account, and then they can work and edit their dictionaries together in real time on the platform. We have a frequently asked questions page, which is on the top toolbar of our dictionary platform. So we've got background research, publications, YouTube channel, and dates of tutorials, and a long list of other questions that some of which I talked about today. Thank you so much. These are our two websites, our main institutional website, livingtongues.org, and then the dictionary platform itself, livingdictionaries.app, which once again, you can use from any browser. You don't have to download anything. It just works straight in your Chrome or Firefox or whatever. Okay, so now I would love to jump into the community portion of our conversation. Okay, I will first start with adding all those links to the chat here. So the first thing I mentioned was, the coalition of partners that we belong to for the Decade of Indigenous Language that just started this year. So here's the coalition link. So we have that. And then, so there's some really amazing organizations doing related work, some in multimedia and some in documentation, some in art. And then here's that conference that's coming up in October. And there's a submission link if anyone wants to submit. Okay, so I'm going to check out the chat here. Okay, yeah, I think the conference is in Berlin, right, Greg? But I'm pretty sure it's virtual as well. Because
I didn't gather that.
It's only in person.
Yeah, Berlin, I'm pretty sure she said, I didn't know that. I didn't have an opinion on that one way or the other. It was my impression that people are trying to go back to that type of format for conferences that are being held in the fall anyway. That doesn't mean that that are present, or it could be hybrid. The other ones in the area are being, right now planned to be in person. So that's something we need to confirm. I don't know is the answer.
Yeah, I'm just looking at their website right now, and it doesn't say necessarily if it's virtual or in person. Oh, our current plan is for the conference to take place in Berlin. Yes. Okay. And then they're running their training sessions. I had just assumed it was virtual since all the ones we've been doing over the last couple of years have been virtual. Okay, we will definitely check on that. That's great. Okay. Yes. Okay, I'm going to put my email in the chat in case anyone wants to email me, like Jasmine. If you want to ask any questions or get the chat file after, I can send that to you at the end. So I would love to hear from some of our other, first of all, Jasmine, since you're there and I see you, what is some of your feedback so far from the presentation? And do you have any questions or comments?
Oh my God, this is amazing. Like, I honestly don't in any way mean to get like Valley Girl on this, but I'm literally floored. Like, I have goosebumps. This is absolutely amazing. This is absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much. That's great. We love your enthusiasm. It's awesome.
Yeah, like I actually timed out of my master's in Indigenous governance because I felt like I was not able to do my project ethically, like my thesis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I've been studying, I started around like environmental conservation, which immediately moved into
Mm.
working with people because it's very easy to get confused and like spun around in the data and in like the PR like talking rhetoric. So I started working with First Nations communities, and I've always personally been very interested in language. Coming here with my Spanish and being very confused in English. And so learning from First Nations people here and Métis, it helped me sort of find that perspective on like my, like I don't want to say my colonial journey, but like we left El Salvador for a reason, right? And part of that is the destruction of the valuations that we had and like the violence that was imparted over and onto us. So I love language and I just love learning the values behind it, because you get to learn about the culture really. And this is just absolutely amazing. I'm really not only impressed. I'm on it. I feel like honestly overjoyed. And the templates that y'all have are straightforward. Sorry, low battery mode there. Yeah, the templates you have look very straightforward. I don't know what else to say other than sort of take this in.
Okay.
So I'm very excited to learn more and be involved in whatever way I can. Yeah, I don't think I have any specific questions that I want to take much time of. I want to let other people, but I'm so impressed and very happy. We found each other.
Yay, that's so great. Well, I'm really happy to hear that. And given your background, I can totally relate. My mother immigrated to Canada from Peru. So I've always had a, foot in two worlds, you could say. And my dad being French Canadian, and his relatives spoke an endangered language as well. So on my mom's side, we used to speak Quechua and Aymara. And then on my dad's side, my relatives used to speak Breton, which it was spoken in France. So like you, I've had a long interest in language and always just wondering, how does this all come together in a colonial setting where every day you're surrounded by the colonial languages, and then there's a lot to learn and a lot to glean from colonial languages and Western thought. But where is the rest? Like there is so much more to that, right? So we've tried to make the platform as inclusive as possible. And since we're not a political organization, we don't have to. We can just focus on the language data, So it gives us a real niche to focus on that and get those materials online, since a lot of it has been, trapped in really older publications and stuff like that. So thank you so much for your kind words.
Yeah, absolutely. And just one thing to add to that, I've learned of like ads and bits, like full-on semesters of Cree and some other languages, but I wasn't actually able to understand it until I was taught by a linguistics professor who taught the structure of Cree. So I really was not able to memorize it, but until I started to be able to like be taught in that way. So when you, I don't know what words you use to talk about like the 3 letters that were like a word that move around in a word, as like, I'm explaining myself poorly, but I see you nodding, so I think you understand.
Yes.
Sort of how those roots move about. That I feel like I'm actually going to be able to learn through this as opposed to memorization. So that was just another thought that I wanted to add in my my floridness right now.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah,
a good
Greg, do you want to
point.
comment? Do you want to comment on that more since you're
Yeah,
talking
I
about
mean,
polysynthesis?
Every
Yeah.
language is the same level of easy to learn as a first language. There are certain quirky features which are required later in the acquisition process within a given language, but ultimately, you know, all cognitively normal children, basically, by the time they're 7, are completely fluent, fully functional speakers of all nuances of a language. Learning as a second language is a completely different story. What language you come from as your L1, or, you know, so even if you're bilingual L2, whatever, or joint L1, that can have an impact on how well you're going to acquire a language without having the sort of structure broken down in that way. Obviously, on the fly in an immersion situation, you will acquire some functionality, but yeah, I mean, linguistics has a role in breaking down language into analyzable parts that, you know, has a role in language learning for sure.
Absolutely. And some of the indigenous educators that we speak to regularly, they have to straddle that line basically, because they need people to learn a bit of linguistics and learn the grammar, but at the same time, they don't want to overwhelm or like discourage them because it's a language like Cree is
shut
like,
down a conversation quickly, right? With too much linguistic terminology to people that are unfamiliar with it. You can, you know, linguistics is a hard science, and therefore it can be very, or aspects of linguistics can be very scary and off-putting to someone uninitiated. In the same way that you know, looking at a biology paper, or you know, people might care about you know, eating healthy or exercising, but that doesn't mean they can read a paper on nutritional science, right? So that's like so that those are like filled with enormous strings of words that just make no sense to anyone. So yeah, there's a balance there for sure.
Yeah, it's a balance, and it's hard for communities when they only have very few speakers left, and then they have a small group of like 5 or 8 learners, and you know, 2 or 3 are already getting discouraged from the level of complexity, you know, so you have you down to just a few people who are going to be like the caretakers of this language. I wanted to bring your attention to our colleagues who I didn't mention earlier, but 7000.org. So they're another nonprofit like us. They help communities for free like us, and they publish a few courses a year. So we've been in close contact with them lately because we're going to be publishing some companion dictionaries to some of these language courses that they have online. So this is a really great place to start for hopefully some of the languages in this webinar, people who are here. There is a Nahuatl course. And there is actually OG Cree. Yes, many languages of the Americas, as well as some international ones. So we just recently started working with them in the last few months, because so many of these language courses need a companion dictionary to go with it. So not just the curriculum, but just the day-to-day, you know, searching in a dictionary. So here we are. I'll just show the Beer Living Dictionary. So this is one we just published recently. So if you're looking for, if you're doing a language course and then you want to go back and search for a word or phrase, you want to look at all the entries that have the word both in it, for example. You could easily search using our platform. So we're really trying to create these inter-organizational ties with 7000.org and our colleagues also at Wikitongues and the Jewish Languages Project. Also, we're working on some, you know, long-term plans to really use the dictionaries as companions for learning. So that's a really good place to start for some really cool online courses that they have. And we haven't formally announced it yet, but we do have some that are coming out this year with them. So it's very exciting. I would love to hear from, okay, I see we have 3 other participants. Does anyone want to jump in with some questions or feedback for us? We have Buri, Anne Beverly. We have Kuhn, I'm not sure how to say your name. I think Miss Nguyen.
Good morning or good afternoon. I do not know how, what's the time on the other side of my computer. It is. What I would like to, I have a question.
Mhm.
I am making research in dialectology, and we have here in Algeria, in the southwest of Algeria, a language called Kwarangia, and it is an endangered language. And I really appreciate if you help me join your group, so
Mhm.
that I can design a dictionary or help in depicting that language.
Great. Yes, absolutely. Can you type in the name of the language and the location into the
Yeah.
chat? Didn't quite
Okay,
catch
no
it.
problem. Yes, I will send you right now a description of this language through Wikipedia.
Okay.
It is called Quarandia.
Uh-huh.
This is the this is the name of the language. I will send you the link now, right now. Copy.
Perfect. Okay.
Yes. Where is it? Paste.
Okay.
There are some of the linguists who
Uh-huh.
have already worked on it.
Great.
Yes, well, I do not remember their names. They are from England. They trace back their origin from Algeria.
Uh-huh.
And I have worked on my PhD thesis on Berber languages, exactly Shawi language. But since my origins are from this area, I do not know at all that there is a language that traces back its origin from. It is a mixture of African languages, Berber, and Arabic language.
Wow.
But yes, and then it is called North Songhai, as you see
Mhm.
your screen.
Mhm.
But I would like, this is my main aim. I would like to work to design an online dictionary to join your groups there
Yes.
and in this language. Yes.
Perfect. So my first question
So-
for you, oh, sorry, Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know somebody who's worked on this language. He's actually French, not English, but he did work in England for a while. Lamine Souag is his name.
That means so what? That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
He traces back his origins to Algeria. He has another nationality, which is French.
yeah. He's a very competent scholar. He's a good guy too. So
Yes, exactly.
he probably has some data that he could help feed for this, because I know he's done, field work in the area. So I'm sure he
Is
has
this him?
recordings.
Lamine Souag is this person?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that's him. Definitely. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, well, that's good that his stuff up there. Yeah, I've seen several things. He's done a lot of stuff on. He does a lot of stuff on language contacts in the sort of North Sahara region.
That's great.
Yeah, Berber, Arabic, Songhai, stuff like that. Also has worked on phonology and stuff like that too. So he's a very competent linguist.
That's great. Yeah. So what that's really good. So it sounds like there's already some documentation out there, and you have you also made recordings of this language, or do you have lists of words and phrases already, or are you just getting started?
I'm on the start.
I have. Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Perfect. Yes. Well, the good news is I speak French as well, being French Canadian on my dad's side. And we're working with a community that's from Algeria right now. We're working on Takbailit. As you can see, I have their spreadsheet open right now. We're working on that. So we can do a similar thing for this language. So we would start by seeing if there are some word lists, words and phrases documented by Mr. Souag, and see if we can use that as a basis for recordings. That's one of the most important things for preserving these languages, is getting accurate recordings of words and phrases. And I see, oh, it's here we have a story in this language and some other stuff here, but I think that just like many languages of this region, there's not a lot of resources online yet. So we would love to help you. We would love to help you get started in that process. And also we can talk to Mr. Suag in that process too, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If he already has a lot of materials, we could just try to collaborate and see. What do you think, Greg? See if some materials.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably appropriate to contact him anyway.
Yeah.
You know, he's part of that research center in Paris that we've had interactions with. So.
Yeah. Yes, and then you, Mr. Hodge, you could be in charge of like helping to lead the dictionary. So basically, we're just like facilitators. So we help kind of get you started, and then you could help grow it. Are you in contact with speakers of this language, or would you be able to get some recordings?
Yes, it's possible to get some of the recordings. And then I can easily contact the community there, even though I live far away from this area, and there are other beginner linguists who want to work on this language or other languages in Algeria.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yes, there's a lot of linguistic diversity there that needs to be documented. So I'll put my email in the chat, and
I already have it. I have already.
Oh, perfect.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes, no problem. And the first thing you can do, which is very easy, so go on our platform and you can create an account. And then I'll just put that link in again in the chat. So you just sign up for an account using the top right button. That way we have you in the system. And then together we can create a living dictionary for this language, and then we can talk about importing data.
I already did that. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, so then the next step is actually, I mean, if people don't mind, I could show the process since we have the information. And I know that this language does not exist on the platform already. So basically, I mean, since we have 5 minutes, I think it's okay. We can do it now. So since you're already on there, so the process for creating a dictionary is very fast. So we take the name of the language, put it here, and then we remove the special characters because that can cause a problem in the URL. So is this the correct name for how it should be represented in the dictionary? Standard name. Okay, perfect. And then this
as written in English, at least.
As written, yeah. We can also change that too. Like if those can be changed under settings if it's like, you know, one of these other names needs to be the name. We can also change it later, but this becomes the URL for it. Then here we would add French and Arabic as the glossing languages. Should we add Berber too? I mean, I don't know if we have Berber on this list. No, we don't. What do you think, Mr. Hodge?
Yes, if you'd like to add Berber, yes, it is possible. Since I work there, I work in Berber region. Yes, and I do some of the works on the phonetics and the grammar of Berber in general.
Oh, really? Okay, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, actually,
especially Shawi variants. Not Taqbaylit variant that some of the Kabyle are working on with you. Yes.
Yes, the Kabyle, yeah. Okay, so we don't have Berber on our list for glossing languages yet, but we can certainly add that to the list. Yeah, we can. That's pretty easy for us. We have in the glossing languages, we have a list of 280 most commonly used glossing languages. And but I mean, we always add stuff to the list, so we'll add Berber. So we can do, and that can be added later in the settings too. And then next we have the coordinates. So based on this location, oops, we will add the,
Not that location. It
no,
is a
that's
bit
Songhai. Okay.
where it is written Tebel Bela, north.
Aha,
And
this Tabel Bala.
Tebel Bela, yes, that's it.
Aha,
If you
okay.
turn back to the map, it is
Mhm.
at the top of the map.
Oh, I see it. Okay, right up there. Okay,
Yes.
so then we check if, let's see if it's on this map. Aha, there we go. So then it gives you the exact location.
Yes, that's it.
Yay, okay, good. Sometimes it's hard to find these locations. So I'm really happy that we found it. Okay, perfect. And then we'll add here some alternate names. So I'm just gonna add from Wikipedia the the alternate names that we have. Oops, sorry. Okay. There's more people arriving. Oh, I bet it's because of the time change that we have more people arriving right now. So I'm happy to stay a little while longer. It's totally fine. So this is what we do to help improve the searchability of the dictionaries. So this gets included in the search terms. So when someone is searching for this dictionary later, they're going to see if, for example, if they're searching in Arabic or whatnot, they hopefully will come across these different names, and it will lead them to this Kuranji living dictionary. Do you know if there's any other alternate names for this language that we want to include here?
No, these are the names that I know.
Okay.
Yes, these are all the names that I know, except the Tebel Belly. Some accept the term Tebel Belly or Bilbeli. That's all.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, could you type that in the chat so I make sure I spell it properly?
The belly is there.
What? Bell belly? Okay,
The belly is there. It's just has a set of letters before that. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
But he spelled it that way that he spelled it. Yeah.
Tabel belly. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, the term Tebel Belly is a mixture between Arabic and Berber language. Otherwise,
Okay, right.
Bilbeli is only Arabic.
Great.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So that's interesting. And we also have in our settings, if you come across any other such names, we can also add them. Like, you know, say you have some other spellings in Arabic or something like that that you want to add. I'll show you where you can add that. And lastly, we'll put I found the ISO code and the Glotto code here on Wikipedia. So that's great. And so we'll add those, also help for people searching for resources. And we won't put it visible to the public right now because we're still building it. But if you want, you can turn that on in settings too, if you want. I'll show you where. So now we create this dictionary. So that was very fast. And here I'm going to add you as a manager since you're already signed up, correct? So if I look for actually, I'll just, if you type in your email in the chat, then it'll use the, if you type in the same email, you could do direct message if you don't want everyone to see it. The same email that you used to sign up for your account just now. If you could send that to me in the chat, then I'll invite you as a manager.
Okay, okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so now, I'm inviting you as a manager, so you'll receive that email. And now now you will be in. The settings here are here. So if you need to change anything later about the name, the codes, or the glossing languages, location, anything like that, you can change it in settings. And you can add more contributors too if you have colleagues like Mr. Suag, if he wants to join this, then we'll send him an email so that he has access to it. And then simply what we'll do here is you could start, and you could start, you know, today or any day you want. If you have some content already in this language, go ahead and start adding it. So you would start with the word. I'm just going to do a test and then I'll delete it. Let me see if I find any. I'm trying to find, can you think of a word that comes to your mind in this language? Let's see.
I have no idea.
No idea. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to add the name of the language itself. Okay. Just, and then we'll delete it later. So here we have, so once you add it as a lexeme, then you could start, it takes you to the full page where you have all the different data fields.
All right.
Yes. So then you would put what this word is in English gloss. So it would probably not have the accent. You could put it.
It means Korangi. It means the language of the village.
Ah, okay. So see, you would put that. Okay, the language of the village. Okay, and then maybe here too in French, la langue du village. Something like that, right? And then you could add in Arabic, since we have Arabic here. The part of speech, you could add if this is a noun or if it's a noun phrase or something else in the language. That I don't know, so we'll have to check that. And semantic domain, what I recommend for a name of a language, we have a lot of different semantic domains in our list. So I would tag this with language and communication. And then it would show up as a tag in the list. So if people are searching for, terms related to communication.
Okay.
And then the fun part, so when you go to add audio, say you're with a speaker or the speaker already sent you the recording, what you would do is you click on add audio. First, you have to add them as a person. So, and you can also use this in French, by the way. I'm going to switch to French, actually, just so you can see, in case you're working in French or another
I'm
language.
working in English.
You're working in English? Oh, perfect. Okay, we'll just show in English for the benefit of everybody who's here. So you add the speaker name. So if that's yourself, I'm sorry if I got your name wrong, Buri, is it Buri? Haj?
Yes.
Okay, so you add in the name and the age. You choose the age.
Birthplace.
I'm sorry, excuse me. Buri Haj. And then you could put Algeria or whatnot, or France or wherever you're from. Yeah. And then you choose the gender, and then you have to click this button that says the speaker agrees to let this recordings be available online.
All right.
Yeah. And this is just a test. So I'm just showing you, we don't have to record right now. But so the reason why we have to put the speaker first is so that we're really giving credit to the speakers who are on the platform. And so that we're respecting their recordings, and that people 20, 30 years from now can know who it was. Yeah. And also, if they don't want to be fully identified, they could just have like initials or something like that. Some people don't want their full names, or just first name, initial, anyway, like respectfully to refer to them, that kind of thing. So then we save that. And once we can delete that later if we want. And then it takes you to this stage here where, so if you already have the recordings, like say you recorded it offline on your phone or a device or WhatsApp or however you're working with them, you would select this audio file from your computer. So it would just take you to your files. Or you could record here and you simply tap yourself and you say, Korangi, and then stop recording. And there it is. Your audio recording is right there. So obviously I'm going to delete this now since I don't think I said it right, but this just gives you an idea of how easy it is to use. Then you can listen, Korangi. Yeah, so that's, you can be with, if you're with them personally, you can just have your smartphone and just log into your dictionary and just record it with them if you have internet. Otherwise, you can just record offline and then upload it later when you're back, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And then, yes, and so it's very easy. You can also upload a photo. And if you want to do video, we can also talk about that too later. So there it is. And then you see it in the list. You see it in the list of entries.
Right.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I'm glad we were able to do this list. I'll run through it one more time. Greg just sent me a word in Karanji, kada, which means small. So I'm going to go ahead and add one more for the benefit. Two people just arrived recently, so I'm going to add kada. So I add my lexeme here. And then this means small in English and petit in French.
Yeah,
So there you
small in
have it.
size, apparently. I was just
Small.
looking at some article I had by Lamine.
Oh, thanks, Greg. He's on it. Small in size. Okay. So then we would actually, you could either write, small in size right there if you want to. And you could write, I don't know if I'm put this exactly correctly, tag. And then we would tag this so that people, understand the context of the word small. That's where it becomes important to have collaborators who really understand the connotations of the word, right? So if it's size, so we want to tag that with size and dimensions, so that it's not like small as in cute necessarily. Like in Indo-European languages, when you say something is small, you might be thinking, oh, like small and cute, but other languages might not have that cuteness component. So size and dimensions would help you just know the context of that word a bit better. And then you could add Arabic, part of speech. I'm not sure if this is an adjective or not, that kind of thing. You could also put the source. So if it's Mr. Lamine's work, you could add a citation for, I'll just add it here so you can see. Is it Suad? Suad was the name?
SOUAG.
Oh, gee, Suad.
Yeah.
Okay. So here you would put, I just added it, but you would put like a full citation if you found this word like in an article. I don't have his full citation, but you could do that, So that's what we have on the platform. Want to credit the source, of where you found this. So yeah, I encourage you, Budi, to if you have some words and phrases available, go ahead and start adding them, and we'll contact Mr. Suag, and then we'll do a batch report, and it's going to be wonderful. Great. Okay. Oh, we have more people who arrived. Welcome to all the people. I don't mind going a little longer because of the time change. And I know people just joined at noon, probably because we had daylight savings time here in the US. So anyone who needs to leave, obviously, that's fine. But I wanted to see if anyone wants to say hello, Isabella or Hugo. Does anyone want to say hi to the group? Okay, I'm gonna give you time if you want to unmute and say hi. We did get a message from Anne Beverly. She said, I can't speak right now because it's nighttime. I once submitted to our university research office a research proposal to document an indigenous language, or what's left of it, but I found myself terribly unprepared and it never materialized. I do wish that I would be able to have more experience in language documentation so I could understand what to propose. Yes, I understand what you mean. What I have at the moment, unfortunately, is only the desire to document our local languages and dialects, especially the indigenous ones, if there are still indigenous words used in their community. Yeah, so it's a very important topic. It is hard to make a proposal for funds if you're just kind of coming at this field for the first time. And I think there's a problem with funding in this field in general. It's really tough to get funding because it's an underfunded discipline, but things are changing now. There's more awareness and there's more funding being given to indigenous communities, especially who are trying to spearhead their own projects. That being said, it might be a small amount of funding or not super long term. So you have to figure out what strategies. There are a couple of, there's a link that I will send to you now. So we have published a PDF called the Language Sustainability Toolkit. It's really written for language activists who are just getting started. And I'll put this in this is a toolkit. So I think this could benefit everybody here if you want to check it out, or for yourself or for your colleagues. I'll just share. So we co-wrote this with our colleagues at Wikitongues. So this is our website here. So it was me, Daniel, and Kristen and Greg. We co-wrote this to try to give people some roadmap, for how to proceed in this field, and where do you see yourself making a difference, right? There's so many different things that you could do in language documentation. Do you want to make a dictionary, or do you want to be making movies or publishing articles, or just simply doing amazing blogs in the language, working with youth? Do you want to teach in the long term, or do you really see yourself more on the tech side? There's really a lot of different avenues where you could go. So this is a good starting place. In late April, we're going to publish another version of this. So stay tuned for that. We're coming out with the next version of it, where we're including oral history questions that people can do to make videos, and a vocabulary protocol where you can have hundreds of words and phrases where you can easily start documenting. So that's coming out in the new version. This version was from over a year ago, so doesn't have those new protocols, but we do have a lot of good stuff coming. So that's one place to start to get oriented. We also have a website that talks about funding, one of our pages on our site, to look at different fellowships and grants that do fund endangered language research. So I'll put that in the chat as well. Some of these are more academic, and some of them are really like grassroots. So it really depends. There might be something better for you and Beverly. If you don't want to do like a purely academic style grant, you can try to look at these and see if there's more grassroots style grant, big or small, to get started. So I'll put that in the chat. And some of them are for global, and some of them are just for regionally specific, just for North America or just for Africa, for example. So that's another link that we can offer. But the question you bring up it's really hard. So one thing you could do is look at past grants. So the Native Voices Endowment Fund, for example, they usually include long descriptions of past projects that they funded. So that can help give you an idea for how to formulate future proposals that you do. In the meantime, you can already start collecting data if you do have contact with fluent speakers. You can read our protocol and just try to get started informally, and that will help you for your future grant proposals too. If you already have collected 200 words and phrases, that's like a really good track record already. You might not be doing it perfectly, and that's fine. If you see there's a need and you're excited to do it, I really encourage you to do it, even though it's really hard at first, because you will find your footing eventually. So I really encourage you to continue. Great, I hope that helps. I want to say hi to Hugo in Mexico and Isabella in Arizona. Are either of you able to unmute and say hello, or totally fine if you can't?
Yeah, I can
Hello.
say hi. Sorry.
So it's okay, go ahead.
Hugo, I'll let you go.
No, you first. You first.
That's fine. Hi, everyone. My name is Isabella Doherty. I'm from the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community in Arizona. And it's nice to be here. Late, unfortunately, because I thought my calendar would switch and adapt to the daylight savings, but it did not.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that. We were having, ever since the daylight savings changed, everyone's calendars are just like, wait a second, what time is it? So thank you so much for coming. Are you working on a language project right now?
Yes, we are. I am working with my tribe's language program for, we're creating an online dictionary, but it's a bilingual one because our tribe has 2 different languages.
Oh, wow. Okay. What languages are spoken by your tribe?
One is Autumn and the other is Pipash.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we got our work cut out for us.
Yes, absolutely. Well, trilingual, I guess, too, right? So you're gonna have English and then the two languages that you mentioned in it.
Absolutely, yes.
Great, great. That's wonderful. Are you interested in creating a living dictionary on the platform too, or do you already have like another software or platform that you're using?
Yeah, we're already using another software. I couldn't tell you which one, but yeah, we were just completing a training for that.
Oh, good, good, good. Yes. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, there's some other great softwares out there. So I really wish you all the best with that. I know it's a hard endeavor, especially since you're dealing with two languages in one project. So yeah, if you ever want to chat with us, you have my email further up in the chat. I'll put it lower down again. If you ever need advice or whatnot, we have informal meetings like this all the time, and sometimes we try to do regional meetings too, just with indigenous activists in the US. So if you ever want to meet other people who are doing it, that also helps orient to learn from other projects too.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thanks. And Ugo, do you want to say hi?
Yes, of course. Hi, my name is Hugo Vallado. I am from Teosuco, Quintana Roo, here in Mexico, and I speak Yucatecan Mayan language. So I am a speaker of an indigenous language, and I am currently working on translation. And when I am translating text from in history or in social studies, I am getting a lot of words in Mayan language. So I want to bring the words together and to have a living dictionary. So I am very granted to be here.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, great. Yes, we don't have a Yucatec Maya living dictionary on the platform yet, so you would be the perfect person to make one since you're already a translator and a native speaker. So 100%.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we encourage you, Ugo. We're going to stop the meeting here in 2 minutes, but the steps that you would do is to go on the platform. So I'll show it one more time so that everyone has it. Okay, so you get on the platform, and so here you see all the different dictionaries. You can see, so if you zoom in to Yucatec Maya, so as you can see, we have other Mayan dictionaries from Guatemala, but we don't have any from here, from where you're referring to, if I'm correct. Yucatec, oh, Quintana Roo, yeah, so it's over here.
Yes.
Yeah, so what you would do is first you would sign in. So there's a button in the top right that says sign up. So you would create your account. And then once that takes 2 seconds, you just do it with any email. Once you have your account, then you click on create a new dictionary. And keep in mind, yeah, create a new dictionary. I'm showing in English right now, but you can also do this in Spanish if you want. I'll switch to Spanish. So here, después de crear una cuenta, you do crear un nuevo diccionario aquí. So you can do, and you could do this process in English or French or Spanish or however you're more comfortable. Just making sure that you know that if you need it, sounds like you're very fluent in English anyways, but you would then do this in English or Spanish by toggling between the interface languages, and then you would put I won't create it right now since we're going to end, but you could start with that and then decide to what languages you want to have in your living dictionary. I would imagine Spanish and English and maybe something else if you want. And then you would put in your coordinates. So if we search for Quintana Roo, Mexico, it should give you a coordinate right there, which is great. save that, and then add in some alternate names. So if I looked up Yucatec Maya here, so like, for example, this word, this phrase here seems to be, is this the way that people refer to it in Maya?
Yes, it is. Mayatan.
Mayatan, yeah. Okay, so then you would add that and any other names that that you know of that are used to refer to this language. You would just add a bunch of them, you know, if there's other. And then you add your ISO code and glotto code, which are also found on the Wikipedia. So you have UA and then Yucca 1254. So you would add these two codes there, and that's it. And then you would create the dictionary. So that's how you would proceed. And then you would, since you're already a native speaker, basically, I would just encourage you to do yourself, like use yourself as the voice. Add some phrases and then do your audio recordings right on your computer or your smartphone. And then, yes. Mm-hmm.
In the case, I have some resources, some other dictionaries who were made by another authors. What can I do to show the others the other resources?
Oh yeah. Okay. So if you, once you get to an entry page, so say I'm on PP now, what right now, which is from El Salvador. So say I'm on this page. If you want it, if you're using a dictionary that's already been published, what you have to do is in the source. So say you're inside your entry right now.
Okay.
Yeah. You add the source and you put the citation of the dictionary, like the name, the author and the title of the dictionary here.
Great.
Page number potentially as well. You know, any information to make it clear that you're attributing it, you know, properly, so no one thinks you're not.
Yeah, just so that they can find the page or even the link. You can have, it can be a citation or even a URL link if you want. You can have unlimited sources and yeah, any credit that needs to be done. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, do you have any more questions, Hugo?
No, it's so clear, everything.
Perfect. And last thing I was going to mention to you, so in settings, so you can always make some changes here if you know, the way you set it up at first, if you realize you want to change some stuff later, like add more languages or change the coordinates, or also change visible to the public or not. So when you're building it, you don't have to have it visible to the public if you want to keep it private. But if you want everyone to see it, then make sure that you click this, and then it's really easy to share. Basically, you have your URL for the whole dictionary, and then each entry has its own URL too, which is really great. So you can just share that as links on social media or anything. And you can also, so everything has a unique link, so it makes it really easy to share. And say you wanted to share like just a list of body parts. So if you tag everything properly with the, say you're doing body parts or colors or animals or something, if you tag this, highlight this filter, that everything will come up, and then that also makes its own unique URL. So you can share that with teachers in the community, other translators, friends, colleagues, whatever you want. So we really wish you good luck, and please email me if you have any questions as you're getting set up with Yucatec Maya.
Okay, I have to repeat it, but it's so clear now. I don't have any doubts. Okay,
perfect. Thank you so much. I'll put this recording online too, because it's quite long, but we really covered a lot of territory. So I'm going to put the full hour and a half on YouTube. Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming. We went a bit over time because of daylight savings, but we really enjoyed the meeting and we really enjoyed talking to all of you.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your
luck.
day. Good luck, everybody. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.